Hello everyone, welcome back. I am finally getting back to doing another video. Please excuse my cat wandering in the background. She's curious, she got into the room, so hopefully she doesn't cause too much trouble. Today we are going to do a first impression / review of the Sugar Rush Tarte Sweet Slice Eye and Cheek Palette. You might notice I look a little pale right now. That is because of the cheek palette element in this item. So we'll be using that as well as the eyeshadows today. This is not a monochromatic eyeshadow palette, so I think that things will blend a lot better together and make a good color for us versus my last video, if you saw that, of the ColourPop monochromatic yellow review. If you want to see that, that'll be linked below. A little bit about this product. So here it is again in the unicarton. It's supposed to look like a watermelon, which is why it's called Sweet Slice. You might notice it says Sugar Rush Tarte. Technically, Sugar Rush is its own separate brand. It's kind of like if you think of Icing by Claire, where it's technically Claire's, but it's not Claire's. This is kind of the same thing where it's owned by Tarte, but it's not really Tarte. This came out a little while ago, maybe at the beginning of summer, but Ulta has awesome sales every once in a while, and they had a 50% off. So I was able to get this palette for only $10. I think originally it might have been like 20 or so from Ulta. After that sale, it's not available on Ulta's site anymore unless you want to get the big vault package, but that is more on the $80-ish, $85 side, I think it was, for a whole bunch of Tarte products. So if you find you like this product and you want to try it out, here it is outside of the box. It's really cute. These little seeds, you can feel they're raised up on this little slice of watermelon. You can't get just this palette at Ulta anymore, but you can get it for $25 from Tarte's site directly, which if you've ever owned anything Tarte, $25 is actually relatively affordable for them. And if you've never shopped on Tarte's site online, most of those sites, when you buy something directly, they're willing to give you between 15 to 20% off if you're a first-time buyer. So a little bit about that. This brand is also cruelty-free and vegan, so love that. When we open up the palette, take this little plastic piece out, we do have a mirror. Yay! I like it when we have a mirror because otherwise you have to figure out how you're going to see to do your makeup. And then on the bottom half here, we have the shades. And I'm going to do a swatch of those. The bottom are all eyeshadows, and then the middle center, the Slice Baby, that is the cheek. So it just says cheek palette. It doesn't necessarily say whether that is bronzer or blush. It's kind of hard to tell. It might be one of those things where it could be blush for somebody, but I'm pale enough that it might be bronzer on me. So I have my little purple kit back here of makeup for whatever we need to supplement with as we're going. So again, here's the little carton. I love this little stitching down here too. It's all textured and raised. I'm a very texture oriented person. So let's get into the swatches a little bit here. So we are going to do them on the back of my hand here. A lot of these are very shimmery shadows. So this first one here is called Just Chillin', and that is really, really bright. I'm guessing that's going to be really good for the inner eye corner, up under the brow. You might even be able to use it as a highlighter if you want. The next one is Picnic. That's a very gold shade. So again, you might be able to use that as a highlighter as well, depending on your skin tone. I know sometimes if I use gold, it gets a little too orange looking. It's not the most flattering on me, but it just depends on your skin type. The next one is kind of a pinky peach. It's called Just Ripe. And that is right here. It's very faint. I am planning on getting even more lighting than I have now, so I know that will help with some of those, but just be patient. It takes time. Oh, this next one is so shimmery. Okay, so this is called Sweet. This is probably going to be my favorite in the whole palette. You can see it right there in the middle. Mattes are all good and fine, but I love a good shimmer metallic shade. I just live for those. Next one's a brown, and it's called Two Scoops. It's definitely a more darker brown. It's got some warm tones. That's more of your matte shade. Those two look really good together. We have two more eyeshadow shades. So we have Flip Flops. Gotta go in a little bit more. That one doesn't show up a lot. So this one is a little bit of a darker pink than just Ripe was. It has a little bit of glitter there, but it's not really pigmented. Now you might say, well, does that make it bad if it doesn't have very much pigment? Not necessarily, because sometimes they put in those lighter, more neutral shades that aren't really popping in there so that you can have a transition shade in between two shades. Oh no, what is she eating back there? Oh, okay. It's fine, I have some jewelry laying out. And then the last one is Juicy. Another really metallic one. That metallic's not showing up on screen as much as the others. I don't know why, but that's like a true watermelon color in my mind. It's awesome. And then we'll go ahead and swatch the middle. Slice, Slice Baby. So that's the thing that, again, it just says cheek palette. It doesn't necessarily say whether it's supposed to be a blush. Ooh, we will be using that as a blush. It's got a really pinky shade. So I will dig into my makeup kit here and find a bronzer. Okay, so I'm back with a bronzer. I have here the Paula Dorf bronzer in Bora Bora. I know some people use an actual contour kit, but especially because I'm so pale, I find a lot of bronzers work just fine to contour. I'd also say this is really tiny. You can probably see, like, compared to my face, how small it is. This is just a little sample size from Ipsy. If you've never heard of Ipsy, you can get makeup each month delivered to your home. You get it's either 4 or 5, I can't remember, products, and then it comes in a bag as well, and that's for $10. And you don't actually have to get it every single month. You can change it to be once every 3 months. That's actually what I have mine set to, just because I have so much makeup I can't keep up with it. But for that price point, that means that one item in the bag is $2. To give you some perspective, the full size from the Paula Dorf website is $32. So I really like Ipsy as somebody who likes to play in different brands and kind of experiment without having to spend $32 on something that you may or may not like. And then if you do like it, a lot of times Ipsy will partner with them to give you coupons to get the full size. So we are just going to dip into this. I like to contour here on my cheekbone. If you can't find it, just suck in, and you'll see to follow your natural line there. Just enough to give us a little color. It kind of looks crazy when you just put bronzer only on, but once you put on your blush. My cat's crying in the hall. I threw her out. Adelaide's not happy, but she was kind of being a nuisance and getting into things. So once we add the blush, it'll look a little less like a random brown stripe, but you can definitely see here where it defines the cheekbone a little bit, which is what you want. Also going to give us a little bit on our forehead here, so we're not looking washed out. A lot of people will bronze or contour their chin. I do not, because I think that mine is really defined enough without putting anything on there to contour or make that stand out. But I do like to take a little bit here down the nose. That just kind of gives it a more chiseled, angular effect or look. It's not like a crazy brown stripe or anything. It's just a little bit to define you. You can see the difference here. It's not crazy, it's just a little bit. And then we'll put highlighter on also, which will kind of help blend that out. So that's the bronzer. And that was with, by the way, an e.l.f. bronzing brush that I used there. I think this was maybe like, I don't know, $3, $4 for the brush, really cheap. And then I'm going to take a Luxe 504 large angled brush to go in with that Slice Baby that we swatched. This is also another thing. Ipsy does not just give you makeup. Sometimes they'll give you hair supplies, skin supplies, brushes. So same thing where this brush was $2. I don't know the exact cost on it, but I can guarantee you it's more than $2. So I'm just going to take a little bit, because the thing with blushes, if you go too far, you can't go back. Like, you're done. You pretty much just messed it up. So I'm going to take a little bit because I don't know how crazy it's going to be. And I'm just going to blend it in circular motions into the bronzed spot of my face. And then if you think it doesn't really show up or there's not a lot there, you can always go back and build it up more. I'm going to do a little close-up so you can see. So that's the side that has the blush on it. I know there's not a lot. And that side has nothing. Could just be the lighting. We're working on that situation. So here's a little bit more. Now you can see the pink starting to develop a little bit more there. I don't like a ton of blush because I want enough that it's like a natural flush, but I really don't want it to look clown-esque. So just a little bit will do it. And I go all the way into my hairline here with the blush. That's pretty. It's just a natural look. It's not anything crazy. But if you go back and look at the beginning of the video to now, you can certainly tell that there's now color on my cheekbones and that my cheekbones exist versus the pale thing I was at the start of the video. So now we're going to go into the actual eyeshadow. So for the eyeshadow, any eyeshadow, you really want to prime your eyelids first, okay? That's going to get to do two things for you. Number one, it's going to really make sure that the true color and pigment of the shadow pops. Number two, it's going to make sure that in here, when you have your eye open and shut, that you're not creasing in there, especially for people that have a hooded eye like I do, that will help. And for people like me, the added benefit, let me see if I can show you. I have a lot of veins in my eyes. It's kind of gross, I know. But you won't see those once we put everything on. So I am almost out, but I'm going to put on here, I've got the Ulta Beauty Tinted Eye Primer, and this is in Satin Blush. I really like this when I do metallic shades because it has kind of a metallic finish to it. If you're using a matte or something that's not shimmery, I would use a different primer for that, just because sometimes this little metallic color will pop through from underneath, and if you're using metallics over top of it, that's really okay. But if you're using a matte and you don't want any metallic whatsoever, probably not going to be for you for that particular look. So the other thing I love about Ulta is that you can get a lot of free stuff. Like, I mean, a lot of free stuff. That primer was free. Sometimes they'll run a deal where they say buy $19.50 worth of makeup. I think it's $19.50 of Ulta brand makeup. And then they will give you this entire bag full of, I've gotten lipsticks, I've gotten brushes, I've gotten eyeshadows, blushes, highlighters, bronzers, setting spray, primer. I mean, they really mix up what they put in there each time, but it's all of Ulta brand, but it's free then. And the best thing about Ulta is, let's say you check out and you're like, okay, I have spent $19.50, give me my free item. Great. Then they always, you can get it right on their website, front page, have a $3.50 coupon off $15. And that's not just on Ulta brand, that's anything. And some stores will say, well, if you use a coupon on that, then you didn't technically spend $19.50, so you can't be eligible for the free stuff. Ulta does not do that to you. So you can get the free stuff because technically it rang up as $19.50. Then use your $3.50 off coupon and take that off. And then if you're like me, and you have a rewards card and you have points, then you can use your points to redeem and to get it for even cheaper. So you can essentially walk out of there with all of this makeup and really spend like maybe $5 tops. Like, it's really amazing. You just have to be smart about sales and when you go to get the best bang for your buck. So in this palette here, I kind of have a look in mind. I am going to start with a base shadow of Just Ripe. That's over here. Really neutral shade. And I am going in with the Vasanti Contour Eyeshadow 4. It's a really fluffy brush, and I think it does a good job when you want to lay a color down. You can use some here in the crease, just to give us that transition shade later between colors. I will say, as far as the formula for this eyeshadow, it is not as powdery as a lot of the ColourPop ones are. I mean, I can't even lift the palette like this to show you colors on the ColourPop one as I'm using it, because the fallout is so real that it would just literally get all over my laptop and setup and everything that I have here to film, which is not what we want on, the MacBook. So, luckily this one's not doing that. It's really spreading evenly and well over the primer. And again, I'm just going in here. I do go up a little bit higher, not all the way to my brow bone, but I at least go about to here, because when you have hooded eyes and your eyes are open, you can't really see a lot of what's on the lid. So I go a little bit above where that crease is in my eye so that you can actually see that I'm wearing something. Otherwise, I've definitely had this moment where I've blinked or closed my eyes and people have then been like, "Oh, you have really pretty eyeshadow on today." And I'm like, okay, I guess I just have to walk around like this all day because no one can see it because I have hooded eyes, but it's fine. It's fine. Moving on, I'm going to take a different brush here. So this is a Mika Beauty Cosmetics brush, no number, but I like a tip like this. That's a little bit thicker and angled to pack it on. That fluffy one really lays the base, but now I'm going to do a dark corner here, make it slightly smoky-ish, if you will. I'm going to use that last color we swatched called, if I can get it here, Juicy. It's this last one over here. I'm really going to coat my brush good, and then I'm going to go in and pack it on. So the reason I like the angle is because you can see here, I'll kind of try to outline what will later be my eyeliner line or guide that I'm going to follow. So I take my bottom lash line here and I just kind of continue that line like if it were to continue and be a circle more, where about that would go. And then I'm not going to do even half the eye. I'm just going to do like the outer third here with this darker color. So when you want kind of like a smokier eye, that's kind of like the formula I follow, is to find a middle transition shade to put in the crease, a darker shade for the outer third of the lid, following the lash line for eyeliner later. And then step 3, which we're going to do in a minute. So you can already see that the outside there, I've darkened up quite a bit. All I'm making sure now is that it's blended in together and there's no patchy sections that didn't draw as much pigment as other places. So we're done with that brush. And then I am going to go with, we'll go back to the first one. So this is back to the Vasanti brush. And I'm going to take this sweet color. It's a goldish color. I'm going to use that for the center of my eye. And I'm going to go out. So I'm going to start about here. I'm going to blend that into the darker. Go back. It's kind of the same with eyeshadows as I said for the blush, and it applies to bronzer as well. Go in with a little bit. If you need more, you can always go back for more. But once you've done too much, you can't take it off without taking everything off. And then you have to redo steps you've already done and you've wasted money and product by having to go back and redo things. It's just a whole world of things you don't want to deal with. So I like how those two blended together. Sometimes you have to really work where the shades transition to get it to look like a seamless blend. But I'm sure because these are similar formulas being in the same palette, I'm not having to do that at all. I am going to go back in with Juicy just to darken that outside a little bit more. Because I do want it to look more like a darker, smoky-esque. It's like a berry smoke. So there it is so far. And now we are going to do with our Sigma blending brush here, E25. This is a really fluffy brush too. I like this a lot for highlighting. We're going to take that Just Chillin', which was that first one I swatched, and we are going to put that in the inner corner. I don't know how much you can see on camera, but it does brighten the inner corner a little bit. Then we're also going to put it right below the brow bone, up here. And I'm only placing it in the brow bone, but I'm actually going to go back with the reverse side of the brush. It's not coated, since this is a blending brush, and kind of blend the sides as well, so we don't have a harsh line from the color. Oh, that blends really, really well. Okay, and then sometimes when you brush, you get a little bit of fallout on the cheek. Don't go with your hands, because when you wipe it, all of the color will go and you'll have streaks of red, brown, whatever color. Just take a brush. This is the large angle brush I did with the blush, and go under your eye and just swipe. That will remove all of that fallout, but it won't smear the color, which is what we want. And then we're going to go in with highlighter, and I'm again going to use that blending brush because I like how light and fluffy and precise I can be with it. And I'm going in with Ofra highlighter in Rodeo Drive. This is more of a full size component, but it's from Ipsy again. So it's $29 to buy if you went to their store and bought it. But for Ipsy, $2. It's really worth it sometimes. The only bummer is when you find something you really, really like. I don't hit pan on a lot of products because I am such a junkie that goes through so much. But if you do like it, then you can buy it. And you can see, oh, even on camera there, it's picking up that highlight versus the other side just looks kind of dull. That gives more of a shine. And then I like to do a little bit here in the bridge of my nose. Some people do a swipe and just go down the middle, but I really think that makes it look too unnatural. I've had people comment and be like, wow, that's a lot of highlighter. So what I like to do is do a little bit here, and then I'll skip the middle of my nose and then go to the tip. So it makes it more like where oil would naturally collect, I guess, to make you look shiny in your face, so it looks more natural. And then a little on the upper lip here. And then if there's anything left, I'll just dust it off on my chin. And there you have it. So I really like this palette, especially since I spent $10 on it. Let me see if I can get a good up close for you guys. So there it is with 3 shades. Got a little bit of shadow, it looks like, in my eyelashes, but we haven't done eyeliner and mascara yet. So that will be covered up. But you can definitely see the gold, you can see the metallic, you can see the red juicy on the outside. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm definitely going to be using this palette again. I'd highly recommend it for $25. It's not bad for a palette with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 eyeshadows, and the blush is pretty good. I might go back in with the blush a little bit more because it's really a soft blush, but that's okay. You can always build. It is buildable. It's not just going to be sheer forever if you put 1,000 coats on it. Thank you for watching. I am planning on doing a couple videos in the future that were requested topics. So I'm going to be doing one on eyeliner, different kinds of eyeliner. That's actually why I'm purposely leaving the look like this right now. I'm going to be filming another video after this that has to do all about how to do eyeliner, different types of eyeliner, different shapes, just kind of like a little tutorial 101 on that. And then I've also had a request for a video on false lashes. So those are to come. If you have any other topics that you are interested in seeing more about, makeup related, let me know down in the comments. And please like, subscribe, sign up for notifications when I post. I'm going to try to be posting about once a week at least. So keep an eye out for that and have a good one.